neuroscience for a minute. Have you all heard about neuroscience? Yes. And you've heard about neuroplasticity, which is where the brain can change itself, the brain can rewire. Seriously, if you're sitting in this audience and you've been a grumpy person for many years now, hormonal or any other reason, doesn't matter, just chose to be grumpy, good news. You can rewire your brain and become a walking joy spot, a chief joy facilitator. You literally can rewire your brain. If you're sitting here with your partner and you're subtly going like this, listen up, whoever's having their ribs digged into. Seriously, we can rewire the brain. But luckily for us, science has come up with a scientific formula for rewiring the brain, and it starts with F. Excellent. So, for us to rewire our brains, we need to FARC. Now, keep breathing, keep breathing. It's spelled F-A-R-C, okay? So, here we are. You need to FARC. So, on the count of three, Joy Buddy, one side, then the other. It's I am a FARCer, I am a FARCer, okay? 1, 2, 3, go. I am a FARCer, I am a FARCer. And because I'm an Aussie, I can't say the R the right way. So, what do you think the F stands for? F-U-S. What is it? Yes. If you are going to change your behavior, this is the secret to changing behavior. So not only does this rewire your brain, but it is the secret to changing behavior. And as leaders, your job is to help people change their behavior. So you have to help people through the FARCing process. And so, first of all, we have to focus on what it is that we want to change. Is it a behavior or a habit or pattern of thinking? Because it is a habit or pattern of thinking that determines the behavior anyway, isn't it? So do you understand again? Everything in life is about your thinking. And your thinking is 100% controlled by you. However, it's not a habit that we are in to be an observer of our thinking. And if you can start, even in little ways, to become conscious of what it is that you're saying to yourself, conscious of the stories you're telling yourself, conscious of the judgments you're making, then you have choices. And you can change who you are and how you behave. So we have to focus on what it is that we want to change, because 9/10 of the time we're completely unconscious, clueless about what's going on. The second thing we have to do is become A-R-E. Aware. And this is all on my website, amandagore.com, so you can find all this in things. We have to become aware of the triggers that are driving those behaviors and habits and patterns of thinking. And mostly those triggers are fears. And I've given you those 3 core fears. By the way, how many of you have children? Let me see. Okay, nearly everyone. How many haven't? Only a few. So those of you, if you're going to have children, remember this. Those of you who haven't, tell this to your nieces and nephews. We have got to start to help children understand these fears. Those 3 core fears I talked about: I'm not worth loving, I'm not good enough, I'm unsafe in some way, or death, abandonment, or separation. If you start to talk to your children about these fears, bring them out into the open, and the stories that they might be telling themselves, you will change their lives. We're currently, I haven't got much time, so I'll tell you really fast. We're currently working on a school joy program in Australia. And for the last year, we've implemented some of the principles in my book into this school. And the results are just astonishing. It's the adults, it's the grown-ups that have the weird thinking. When you get to the children, if they have some of these fears embedded, they're great talking about it. They're great at clearing it. But you have to bring it up because they're unconscious of them as well. So please, please, please go home and discuss this with your children. It doesn't matter what age they are. And third, if we're going to change our behavior, we have to focus on what it is we want to change. We have to become aware of the triggers. Then we have to R-E-A-T. Repeat the new behaviors. And Alvin Toffler, the great futurist, said, intelligence in the future will not be measured by the ability to read and write. It'll be measured by the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Isn't that true? How many times have you learned something, you've had to unlearn it, and now you're relearning a different way? Well, for me, my version is we have to FARC, unFARC, and reFARC. And if you think about, think driving. When you first had your first driving lesson, you're sitting there and you're gripping the steering wheel like this, and your parent is beside you and they're sheet white, and they're screaming at you, stop, stop, and you're going, how? because so much is going on. Nowadays, how many times have you driven home, you're on the phone, you're eating something, you're listening to the radio, you're sending a fax out your butt, and you're doing 8 other things, and you don't even know how you got home? Isn't that true? That is because you have farked so often driving that you don't even have to think about it anymore. It's just embedded, it's wired in. Now, if we were to say to you, okay, now you have to drive on the other side of the road, what happens? Well, you crash, yes, but hopefully not. And so we have to fark, we have to unfark and learn how to do, refark, learn how to drive in a different place. Here's the tip, if any of you come to Australia, driver in the middle. So whatever country you go to, the driver is always in the middle of the road. I have to remember that when I drive here. So, although I did live here, so I've kind of got 2 lots of farking happening in my head. So this is the very important part and brilliant for you guys and very important for the brain. The last thing in farking is B-R-A-T-E. What is it? It's celebrate, yes. The brain loves to celebrate. So whenever you do anything new, try to create a moment of celebration. Don't just drink yourself stupid, but do something else that's an acknowledgement. You know, a ta-da or a moment where you buy yourself a piece of jewelry, perhaps. But, you know, tie this in with your business. You are seriously in the business of joy. If you choose to perceive yourself, if you choose to tell yourself the story that you're in the business of joy, you will start to change the way things work. It's really important. But if you just say, I am a jeweler, that's it. Well, that's nice. There's not a lot of emotion around that. Not connecting to people's hearts, not much of a story. But you know, if you're in the business of joy and you're helping people create magic moments and memories, and that excites you every day, it'll shine out of you and you'll help other people's eyes shine. So, farking, really important.